Dr. Noel Wagner, Saginaw-Tuscola Medical Control Authority. Today I want to talk about our new response priorities. Everybody knows the old response priorities: priority 1, lights and sirens; priority 3, non-emergent. That's been in the system for many, many years, decades at least. If you're a fan of history, there used to be an old priority 2 that was actually a real thing, which is lights, no sirens. That went away a long time ago for fire and EMS. If you're going to use lights, you have to use sirens. Law enforcement's still allowed to do it, which is why you'll see the police using lights with no sirens, because they have a carve out in the law. But for EMS and fire rescue, it's always either been lights or no lights, and that has created a problem in that these are really broad categories, and there's really not two types of calls out there. There's a lot of different types of calls, at least as far as in terms of severity and time sensitivity. So moving forward, we need something better. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to essentially a 4-priority system. So that's the purpose of what we're doing today, is to talk about that and make sure everybody understands what's going on. There's really 2 needs in our system, which is kind of unusual. Most systems have 1 need, and the number 1 need is to use less lights and sirens. We need to use less lights and sirens. One more time. We need to use less lights and sirens, period, full stop. That's just the way things have gone. Lights and sirens save us generously a minute, maybe 2, depending on circumstance. Sometimes you need it. Most times you don't. And so that's where this new system is going to be set up, that we're not using them near as much. And then the second thing that we have in our system, which is kind of unusual in an emergency response system, is we have a large set of providers, many of them experienced or very experienced, who just don't want to use lights and sirens anymore. They've kind of gotten that intuitive feeling that they don't really benefit that much. They don't want to take the extra risks associated with using lights and sirens. And that's a perfectly good thought process. The problem is with a single lights and sirens response or priority 1, you ultimately end up guessing. That you're guessing which call sounds bad or more severe or seems bad, and that's not where we can be. We cannot be there as a system. There can't be guessing. We have to have the system set up so that when we're asking you to use lights and sirens, that there's a much higher chance of it being a legitimate need. And then the rest of the time, it's either going to be optional or it's going to be prohibited. And we'll talk more about that here in the rest of this video. These changes are close to going into play. Tuscola County is going to start on December 16th. Monday, December 16th with the changes. Saginaw, the plan is to start on Thursday, January the 2nd with the changes. Now, it's going to be a few days that these are rolling. The way the computer systems work is you can't just start them all at once. You have to put them in one by one, and there's over 700 different determinants. So it may take a little bit. It'll be a work in progress for those days. Just listen to the dispatchers, go with the priority. After about several days at the most, we'll be fully converted over to both systems. So Tuscola, December 16th, Saginaw, January 2nd is when it starts. Now, what is the new system? Well, essentially, we're going to go to 4 determinants. So looking at this, we're going to set cards out for everybody. These will be provided to you, which will have all of the system information on it, and explains them on the back. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more right now. So let's start with priority 3. Priority 3 is simple. It's the old priority 3. It's a non-emergent call, no lights and sirens, higher possibility of this being BLS, although not guaranteed, but higher chance of this being a BLS call type. No changes. The only change, if you will, is there's going to be more priority 3s in the system. Some of the old priority 1s have been converted into priority 3s. All of the old priority 3s are still priority 3s. So that's pretty straightforward. No lights and sirens. Priority 2, that's kind of one of our new determinants, if you will. We've always had the priority 2 as the calls being processed, but now priority 2 will also be a final call determinant. And as you can see, it's emergency, no lights and sirens. You cannot use lights and sirens It's the call type is such that we don't believe that lights and sirens are warranted. And we just want you to drive regular traffic. We want you to drive regular traffic. If you don't have your lights and sirens on, you cannot drive in excess of the law, of the limits, speed limits, direction. You're driving regular traffic, and we anticipate when we set these up, we know what regular driving is, and that's why we made it a priority two. Okay. Um, some of the old priority threes may be priority twos. Some of the old priority ones may be priority twos. You really won't notice the difference, on your end, but there will be a significant number of priority twos out there. It's supposed to be treated like an emergency call. Even though you're driving regular traffic, your turnout times are expected to be the same. You're supposed to get rolling the same way. There's a higher chance it's an ALS call, although that's not guaranteed. And there we are. We've been doing a version of this. The priority one, no lights and sirens to some of the facilities, has kind of been the predecessor to this, but this will be more widespread than it has been up to this point. Okay, priority one, also known as priority one conditional, and if you read the definition on it here, emergency calls where normal driving is expected to be an appropriate response. You can utilize the lights and sirens whenever the traffic conditions, the road conditions, whatever, indicate that you would need to use them. Okay, so this is where we're giving you the discretion. Okay, for the crew members that don't want to use lights and sirens, you're going to have a wide latitude to not use them at this point. For those of you who still want to use them, initially you're going to be given a wide latitude on this, and after a period of time, we're going to start looking at it and we're going to start talking about it. Did you really need to use the lights and sirens at 3 a.m. when all the traffic lights were on flash? That's going to be a hard one for you to say yes to on that when it's a priority one conditional. Okay, so I want you to start thinking about it, and remember that we still anticipate that normal driving is there, but we're giving you the option to use the lights and sirens whenever you're getting hung up, whenever there's going to be whatever reason it might be. Okay, there's your discretion. All right, we expect you to use it appropriately because I know you can use it appropriately. And then the final new category is the priority one echo. Okay, that's going to be where you have to use lights and sirens. That's going to be for the cardiac arrest, the chokings, the drownings, electrocutions, things where a minute or two makes a difference. All right, and those are going to be put out as a priority one echo. You got to use the lights and sirens on those. This is where we don't want people guessing about the severity. There's a very small number of call types that have this priority one echo, and we expect you to do that. All right. So looking at the whole list, if you look at how this is set up, the vast majority of the calls will not have lights and sirens mandated. You have a wide berth to not use them or cannot use them, depending on the call type. There's a very small subset that it's mandated. And this is going to be a good mix. I think with education, experience, and time, this is going to work out pretty good. Just a caveat, this is something I've been working on for a long time. I've been working with a lot of people behind the scenes. I don't want to call it my plan, but this is something that we've needed to do for a while. So after it's been going on for a while, if it's still confusing to you, if you can't quite grasp the four categories, if you have some dissatisfaction with it, you're more than welcome to shoot us an email at the office, and we'll set up a time and we can sit down and we can make you feel a little bit more comfortable about this. But I think that's going to be unlikely. I think that this really isn't rocket science, and everybody gets their cards. They're going to be distributed by your supervisors. They're going to be in the hospitals. They're going to be everywhere. It's going to be on our website. If you want to go pull up the protocol, it's pretty straightforward. This is going to be a good thing. So the nice thing is that we're one of the first systems in the state, if not the first, to come up with a non-binary response modes. And I think that's a good thing. We'll see if other systems follow us on this. The names may change a little bit. The names may change within our system. Priority one conditional may be hard to say, so that may be shortened to something in the future. Priority one echo may be hard to say on a regular basis. So we'll see where it goes. But it's the same. It's the same general concept. It's the same concept for each category. So again, I appreciate your help with this. This is going to be a good thing going forward. I am more than happy to answer questions on it if there's any confusion on it. So give it a little time. It makes a lot of sense, and it's going to make things a lot safer and a lot better. And that's it for today. Again, I'm Dr. Noel Wagner, Saginaw-Tuscola Medical Control Authority.